welcome to Orion Today. We're back. I'm Joe Johnson, and once again, I'm joined by Tracy Woodrum. How are you, Tracy?
I'm great. How are you, Joe?
Good. You got some color in your face?
Yes.
You just get back from someplace special?
I did. I went to Florida for spring break. So I have a
Nice.
cousin who lives in Naples, and so I got to go spend, it was more like a Florida staycation.
Yeah.
Because my cousin still works when I go down there, so I just kind of hang out and walk to the pool, and then we go to the
Nice.
beach here and there, and it was gorgeous.
That's
So.
awesome. I mean,
Yeah, it was so
considering
nice.
the psychotic weather we've been getting here
I know,
in
as I
Michigan.
said, I'd come back, and yesterday there was snow. I'm like, and today I'm wearing a turtleneck sweater
Yeah.
in April. Like, yeah.
Every time I think I put my winter coat away for good, I'm digging it out and putting it back on. Looking out the window of my office yesterday, there's horizontal snow blowing past the window. I'm like, what's going on?
I was at the high school yesterday, and one of the students said it was snowing outside. I was in the computer room, so I had no windows, and I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. She wasn't.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we get all the seasons in one day sometimes here in
Yeah,
Michigan. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it's sunny today. It's cold, but it's sunny. So
Yeah.
because I'm heading out all over town to show some houses today. So.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Now, before we went live, you were talking a little bit about March Madness.
Yeah.
Did you have anything invested this year? Did you do your bracket?
Oh, I did my bracket, but it was busted like several rounds ago. I actually was really hoping this was the year for state. So I thought,
Right.
they
A
were.
lot of people had them.
Yeah, I was really hoping. So I had them going all the way. So my bracket was busted, but I did watch the game, and going into it, I had no stake in it, right?
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I just want to see a good game. But then, they feed into the emotion, right?
Yeah.
Houston's never won, and, and their coach. And so I really wanted Houston to pull it out. And so.
Yeah, I did a bracket for the first time ever, and I did really well in round one. Basically, I don't follow college ball much, but basically, I tried to go with favorites, but then pick the occasional underdog because there's inevitably going to be an underdog win.
Yeah.
So I did pretty well round one. Round two, I started to lose some teams. And by the time we got down to the Final Four, I had nobody left.
Yeah.
And ironically, the four teams that were left were all number one seeds.
Yeah.
So had you just went ahead and
Right.
picked all number one seeds, you probably would have done very, very well.
But that's not typical
Right.
of the tournament. So if somebody did pick all number one seeds, actually, I did have a friend. She sent me her bracket last night. Because she asked, where are you going to be watching the game? I'm like, at home on my couch. It doesn't start until 9 o'clock,
Yeah, right.
But she did. She had, I think, 3 of the 4 right, and she did have Florida winning it all. So I'll have to check in with
Wow.
her today to see if she had any anything in there, if she's winning something or if it was just for the title. So
Now, does she do this every year, or was
she's
Okay.
into basketball. But that's the thing. Like, I know you said this is your first year doing it. Most of us do okay the first round.
Yeah, the beginner's luck.
Yeah, well, and it's just the points, the way the points go. The first round, it's very minimal. So even if you lose one, you're not losing a ton of points. It's as you move forward in the bracket that there's more points. So
Yeah.
that's where, I guess, if you have to follow all of the teams.
Yeah, right.
So-
Yeah, when you hear, like I'll listen to sports talk radio and they talk, about a guy from this team and a guy from that team. And I'm like, how do you follow all of the college teams?
But
That's
you do it
crazy.
for football. I mean,
But there's only, 32 teams in football? There's a lot more college teams
Yeah,
than that.
that
So
is true.
I
That
don't
is
know how
true.
they follow all that stuff. I don't have that
we'll
kind
have to ask Joey. I'm sure Joey had all the stats. So
Yeah. Easter is not too far away. We're about 2 weeks away from Easter.
yeah, 2 weeks, week and a half, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you have little ones, I don't know if they're still accepting because this is a pre-registration event, but Orion Township has their Easter egg hunt. They call it the Bunny Bop this Saturday morning. We'll see it mentioned on Becky's Quick Hits a little bit later today. But so the Easter egg hunt is right around the corner. Good Friday is coming up. We have the day off on Good Friday, and then Easter weekend. What's your family tradition for Easter?
We get together. We'll probably this year be going to my parents. Sometimes we go to my aunts. It just depends on, if we're getting together with all the extended family or, just like my my parents and my brother and his family. So I think we're going to keep it small this year, and I think that's what we're doing. So, and I usually serve at church, so I'll be doing that quite a bit over the weekend. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be getting together with family. They're going to try something a little different this year. Normally, someone in our family, goes all out and makes a big dinner. This year, the group text went out and they said, "We're making reservations this year."
Nice. Okay.
I said, "All right, count me in."
Where are you going? Any place good?
I'm not sure. I think they were talking Chinese or something. I don't know, but we'll see. But that'll be different. One thing I do like to do on Good Friday, since we get the day off, is I grew up in Hamtramck, and so we usually meet in Hamtramck at one of the great Polish restaurants. There's Polish Village Cafe, and there's Polonia restaurant. So we'll probably meet up on Good Friday to have some good Polish food in Hamtramck.
Sounds good. Some pierogies and
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds delicious. We'll bring back some leftovers for us, okay?
That's right. Yeah. You know who has really great smoked kielbasa is I had some at
Oat Soda?
Oat Soda.
Oat Soda has a great Polish blend.
Yeah, I went in there one day and I got some kielbasa, smoked kielbasa, pierogies on a bed of sauerkraut. It was outstanding.
Yes,
so.
I do go there quite often for that.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And maybe this is a little premature, but Memorial Day is a month and a half away, and community's starting to gear up for that. And we may talk to our guests in a little bit about Memorial Day plans and all that stuff going on. So yeah, lots of stuff happening soon.
Yeah, it'll be here before we know it. And I'm looking forward to when we can count on the days being a little bit warmer. So.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I can't wait.
I know.
I haven't put my top down yet. I'm ready to put the top down on the convertible.
Put it down and blast the heat, right? Isn't that what you do during these transition times?
No, not quite. I wait till it gets up close to 70, then the top will come down. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Not this feels like 22.
Right. Yeah. I have cold air blow on you. So, one thing I did do this past Saturday, the Lions Club had their first big fundraiser of the year. It's a fun event, and it kind of ties into the Kentucky Derby, which I think is not too far away. But they have their annual lion races, as they call it, a day at the races.
Yeah.
And a lot of businesses and organizations, including ONTV, decorate these large wooden lions. And then the Lion Club members come and pick those up. And that night at Boulder Creek, is that what it's called? Boulder Point. Boulder Point Golf Club. They line up 6 lions at a time, and then they roll these dice and they race, and people bet on the outcome and stuff.
That sounds so fun. I've never been to that. I can't believe.
Yeah, and they had a taco bar to boot.
Ooh,
so
okay.
one of the perks of my job is.
When is that date?
That was this past Saturday. So put that in your calendar for next year.
No, I need a heads up next time.
Yeah. So I was there and shot some video and put it together yesterday, and you are the first to see this new story on the Lions Club Day at the Races. On the evening of Saturday, April 5th, the Lake Orion Lions Club hosted their 9th annual Night at the Races at Boulder Point Golf Club in Oxford. Attendance was up this year as over 200 attendees enjoyed a taco bar, took part in raffles, and of course wagered on the outcome of the lion races. 24 wooden lions were decorated by local businesses and organizations, with 6 lining up at the start of each race. Large fuzzy dice determine which lions would advance toward the finish line.
Well, it's fantastic. We have some that couldn't make it this year, so we fill in. We have 24 total every year, and so we filled in with some new ones. We're pretty excited about a couple in particular, Zuddles, and there's a few new ones, and that's fantastic to have new businesses involved, helping out the community like we always try to do. And then even better than that, I think our record in the past 8 years was about 150 people attending. We're about 215 right now. So we're really killing it on that. That should really help us raise more money to help out. And we're really excited about that. The raffles are going crazy. We got squares boards. We have lottery trees that we're selling, raffling off. Everything is taking off. It's unbelievable right now. The excitement is super high. Can't wait to get the races done as soon as we get all these people fed.
In addition to the betting action, ticket sales help the Lions Club with their charitable efforts in the community.
You know, we're always trying to raise more money to help out people in our community. We help out some other charities like Love Inc. and Leader Dog for the Blind and the Lions Bear Lake Camp up in Lapeer area that was started by our own Lionel Casson from Lake Orion Lions. So, you know, we're trying to just, in general, increasing our charities budget so that we can help more people and get people glasses. We do eye tests for free for kids to check their eyes, and quite often refer them to doctors to get their eyes checked, and it's helped a lot of kids and parents.
The Lions Club meets at Johnny Black's Public House on Baldwin on the first and third Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. For more information, visit LakeOrionLions.org. You can also find them on Facebook. In Oxford, this is Joe Johnson reporting for ONTV News.
Imagine a child in a classroom. He or she is trying to pay attention in class, but like many kids in our community, he or she faces a challenge. When the school week ends, the reality of hunger begins. Many children depend on weekday school meals, breakfast and lunch, for their nutrition.
That's where Blessings in a Backpack comes in. Each month, volunteers come together to pack nutritious meals for kids that they take home each weekend. With these packs, children receive more than just food. They get hope, energy, and the chance to thrive.
But we can't do it alone. Your support can help us reach even more children, ensuring they have the nourishment they need to succeed.
I've seen firsthand the difference a full stomach can make. These children are more focused, more engaged, and more confident.
Every child deserves to feel secure and cared for. With your help, we can make weekends worry-free for hundreds of children. If you're interested in making a difference, we have a number of ways that you can help.
First, we pack once a month on Wednesday mornings. We would love to have you join us for that. You can sign up through our Blessings in a Backpack Lake Orion Facebook page. We want to thank the Lake Orion High School robotics team for their faithful support in setting up the night before we pack each month.
Finally, if you can't be involved in any of those ways, we welcome monetary donations.
You would simply visit www.blessingsinabacpacklakeorion.org to donate. And together, we can ensure that every child returns to school ready to learn, grow, and succeed. Blessings in a Backpack, feeding the future one child at a time.
So our ONTV Lion, at least while I was there, did not win any races. We have won in the past, but it's a great cause, and so the people that are there, and they had a record number turnout at their event. They bet on the outcome of the races. There's ticket sales to get into the event, so the Lions Club does really well. And you know, I said to them, it's nice to see that their attendance is on the increase, because one thing I've noticed in the community since COVID is a lot of charitable events, their attendance has dropped considerably, and there's been some events that have gotten canceled because lack of interest.
It didn't come back, like it never survived.
So to hear that the Lions Club numbers are going up, that's really encouraging. That maybe people are emerging from their 5-year slumber and getting back out into the community.
Well, it looks like a great event, so I mean, why would you not want to head out and join? So,
right. So speaking of fundraisers, we have some distinguished gentlemen here joining us from VFW Post 334. We have Chuck Haskin, and Randy Stetson is joining us. And thanks for coming out here, guys. You have a special fundraiser coming up in a couple of weeks.
Well, thank you, Joe. And with that, you know, Randy is our director over our Buddy Poppy program, and I'll let him speak about our dates that we have for this year.
All right. What do you have going on?
Well, we have our poppies, of course. We have a lot of different events coming. We have the men out there that are going to be asking for donations for our poppies, and most of that at the Kroger stores and stuff like this, McDonald's, all over the place. So hopefully.
Last year I saw Bob Watros over at the Veterans Memorial, so there's going to be a presence there too, right?
Right.
Right, and it definitely will be. That's our home base, basically, 334. So.
Yeah. What I like to tell people this time of the year is hit that ATM,
Yeah.
have some cash in your wallet, because you don't want to, roll up on Heights Road and be sitting at the light and see poor Bob out there and go, I don't have any cash.
Yeah.
So don't use that as an excuse. Hit that ATM.
But this year, if they come up to a Kroger store or a McDonald's or a Sam's Club and they say, I have no cash, we take credit cards now.
All right.
Oh, really?
There we go.
Yes.
Look at that.
And we'll have on, right now we don't have on our signs, we have two of them right here, but we're going to put a little decal at the top. It has a QR code that you can go with your phone and you can donate at whatever time you want to donate or how much you want to donate, right on your phone, your privacy right there.
See?
And it'll go directly to our account.
Got to stay on top of today's
Absolutely
technology.
have
don't
to,
you?
because money is getting in short supply.
I rarely carry cash in my wallet
A lot
anymore.
of people, yeah.
If I got mugged, they'd be out of luck.
Right, same here.
Well, you know, and some places don't even take cash anymore. I mean, obviously the local stores do, but you go to an event and you want to buy concessions and you cannot use cash. You have to use your card. So there's, less need, I guess, to carry it anymore.
Right. So now you have a reason.
Yeah.
Randy, do you know the history of the Buddy Poppy program?
Well, it started back in World War I, basically. What was his name, that Colonel?
Colonel Flanders.
Colonel Flanders, and he's seen the rows and rows of poppies, of red poppies, and these are all men that had died, and he created a poem. This sign here kind of shows the poppies behind you.
Tries to represent the field.
Yeah.
But he had a personal friend die and get buried in the field, and he went there to visit him. It had rained the previous day, and he gets out there, and these poppies appeared throughout this big cemetery over in Belgium. And the Colonel Flanger was a Canadian colonel, and he wrote this poem. And a young lady, and I can't remember the young lady's name, it came back to the United States after hearing this poem, tried to sell the idea of supporting our veterans who had passed with some kind of recognition. And hearing the poem was one way of using the poppy. And she sold the VFW on it. And the VFW came up with this one. It's trademarked. We call it the Buddy Poppy. And Buddy Poppy has got a trademark on it. So we're the only ones to hand out this one. You got other organizations that have poppies, but they will not look like these, which correspond pretty well with what they did over in Belgium's field.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this since about 1914.
Oh, wow.
And it used to be huge program in the United States, especially after World War II, that we would have national sponsors, national Buddy Poppy girls on TV, and everybody heard of it. So a lot of our public's grandparents, they were very well what's going on. But in today's world, they don't advertise us too much anymore.
No, not so much.
And so the question is, what are you still doing to Buddy Poppy? Well, we're still remembering our veterans who passed away. We call it Memorial Day.
Right.
One way of doing that is probably wear, like I'm wearing right now, a Buddy Poppy on Memorial Day, showing that you remember all the veterans who gave the ultimate price of this country having freedom, so they're losing their lives. So we remember one and all from all the different wars that we have, and unfortunately, we have a lot of wars.
Definitely.
And Randy and myself were the Vietnam War. But we still remember all our brothers over there. Plus, we remember our brothers from Korea War, World War II, World War I, Civil War. And, some of our cemeteries around here, they have all of those in the cemeteries. In particular, Leonard Cemetery has, I think a Civil War is the oldest grave site that's there.
Spanish-American War.
The Spanish-American War and World War I. Very old cemetery in Leonard.
Yeah.
But the Buddy Poppies are basically just done once a year. We do it. We're going to start the last weekend in April and go into the first 2 weekends of May. And through what we mentioned, Kroger's, not Kmart, they're gone.
Used to be
But
Kmart.
used to be. We used to have a World War II veteran that did Kmart in Lake
Yeah,
Orion,
yeah.
and he was excellent. He was excellent. I don't think we got any. Yeah, we don't have any World War II veterans out in our Poppy Drive this year.
Yeah.
We have only one left. So,
Wow.
but
Right.
a lot of our members, and we got quite a few, go out on the streets. And when I say streets, Bob will be on the streets by the memorial.
Yep.
We'll have somebody on the streets on
Addison and Leonard,
Anderson Leonard.
they're on Lakeville Road in Rochester.
Yep.
We'll
Oh,
be
wow.
doing it there. And of course, in Leonard, we have an old timer there. He's been there for how many years?
So he's a
20
Korean War vet. So he is 86, 87.
Right.
He sits in the middle of that intersection for 4 days. And he don't get up, and he don't move. He hits every direction. It's this 4-way stop.
He's our #1 guy, just about.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
he's really
he-
good
he-
guy. He knows everybody, so.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
brings
stops
me
the cars.
this. Yeah.
I'm surprised the police don't come and say something to him. So, hey, you can't do this, you know. But he
Hold up
does.
traffic.
He doesn't
He's done
care.
it for so long
Yeah.
Yeah.
that everybody expects him there, so they don't give him any problems. Anybody else, they wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, right.
But Bob has a big cooler. He has.
Oh, my
He's
God.
so busy he can't hold money. He just throws it in the cooler. And I think it weighs about 50 pounds when he brings it to me. And,
He doesn't count it. He just brings
Yeah,
it
he just
in.
brings it in. Yeah,
He counts it. So.
yeah I count
Yeah.
all his money for him.
That's one thing that's encouraging. When I shot video of poppies being handed out last year, and some of the containers that I've seen are overflowing. I think I saw
hope so.
yours out, and it's like that's a good sign that you
That's
have to be careful
absolutely.
that it's not blown away. You got to tuck it back in there, but people do respond.
We absolutely do. And the Poppy is our main fundraiser that we do for our post.
That's our bread and butter. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, and it's the way we can go out and do what we do.
Talk about
which is-
that. What are
which
some
is-
of the things that you give back to
Yeah,
the community?
we support the community and we support our local veterans. So these poppies, every dollar we get is put into what we call a relief fund. And the only thing the relief fund can be used for is for helping your community or helping veterans and veteran programs. So it's not made for pay rent on a building. It's not made, anything like that. It's just help the community. How do we help the community? You joined us at Fish.
Fish.
We sponsor a couple shelves over there. We had a big a sponsorship here through the Poppies. We're able to. We first started out with 1 shelf. Now we've got up to 2 shelves. And in particular, later they had called me and asked us, "Hey, we need." We found out that our community not only needs food, they also need baby diapers, and we don't have any. Can you help us out? So we went and got about $1,000 of baby diapers. We went and purchased through our relief fund for the have them for our community. And the biggest thing in demand at Fish right now is diapers.
Wow.
Right.
So it's for all the young kids out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've been shopping for diapers lately. They are expensive.
That's what I'm hearing.
They are
yeah.
expensive. And so we're helping out there. In fact, we got an event coming down here in June at the VA hospital that they're helping the women veterans with kids to get them stuff. And so we're going to have a motion tonight to go out and get some more diapers for the VA and
Wow.
go from there. But other programs we do in here, we help support the all-night programs for the high school kids.
Around
And,
graduation.
yeah, I think it's an April time frame, April, May.
We've
And
helped the young
makes-
Marines in the past.
yeah, we used to have
A
young
lot
Marines.
of that.
But
we
we in the-
support the memorial, not the memorial, but the orphanage in Eaton Rapids, Michigan. That's the national home for the orphans and stuff. So we support a lot there. So
Wow. Yeah, back in February, you guys popped in during our food drive and did a check presentation to
Yep.
the Fish Food Pantry, and I'm sure that goes a long way. That's really awesome.
That was a great day. It was $2,400. Helped put you over your top of your goal of that day.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
That was good for that
Yeah.
day. And good people over at Fish. Good people at Fish. And getting
Yeah.
the word out in the community about Fish and what they're all about. It's our own little community grocery store for the people that really need the help. and
Yeah.
get them through.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're just a few weeks away from the post office food drive, where people are asked, you'll receive a bag in your mailbox that you're encouraged to fill up with canned goods and boxed goods, and then leave it at your mailbox, and the postal carriers will take it in and sort it and deliver it to Fish. So that's just a few weeks away. That's called the Stamp Out Hunger food drive. So, yeah. So another big weekend that's about a month and a half away is Memorial Day. I think one of the biggest weekends of the year here in Lake Orion. What are your plans on Memorial Day?
Well, on Memorial Day, we have our fantastic Best in the State Memorial for our veterans. And
The beautiful memorial.
Yeah.
It sure is, and it keeps getting better and better, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And they will, after, I think it's going to be after the, going to have a race in the morning.
The 5K, yep.
5K, yeah, and after, and it's not only a race for running, it's also walking. And after that's complete, I think they're going to start either 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock. I've heard it going back and forth on what they started. Last year, I think we were 11 o'clock, and it was, they thought it was kind of early, and people weren't all back yet. But that place is packed.
Oh,
And,
definitely.
and we'll have a tent set up, and we'll be out there handing out our poppies and looking for donations. But it's a great event. Don't know who the keynote speaker is. I know they're looking right now to see who they can get for a speaker.
There's usually the parade in downtown Lake Orion is
That's
before
early.
the ceremony.
That's early in the morning.
Yeah,
Early in the morning.
So we have
Yeah,
the
it's like a-
5K.
Yeah.
There's a little ceremony. The American Legion obviously is very heavily involved in Memorial Day too. So there's a little ceremony at, I think it's called Evergreen Cemetery on Orion Road. There's a little ceremony there at the War Monument, and they place flags at the veterans' graves. Then there's another little ceremony in Children's Park as the 5K run is coming to an end. American Legion has a little ceremony where they drop a wreath into Paint Creek. Then there's the parade, which is always awesome, and then of course the big ceremony at the memorial at that one. Yeah. So
It's a great day. But we don't want to lose sight of what that day is about.
right.
And it's there to remember ones who have fallen in the name of this country.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, people, they enjoy the 3-day weekend, and they say, we're celebrating Memorial Day, and I don't know if celebrating is the right term.
it's a remembrance.
Remember,
Day, a Remembrance Day going through there.
Yeah,
And Veterans Day, which is in November, is more celebrating the veterans.
exactly. Yeah, we're
Who
honoring.
are
the
alive
veterans.
today and
Yeah,
doing their
yeah.
things, or out there actually fighting the fight for us right there today. And it's amazing when you hear of all these different places we have physicians. I get in contact every once in a while with the company I used to be associated with, the 716th Military Police. And they are in 16 different countries right now, including in the United States for the first time, guarding our border down in California. But they're everywhere. And we kind of forget, if you don't see them on the evening news, that we have services all around the world all the time.
Yeah,
So we can't forget about them.
yeah,
Because another thing we do is try to wear red on Friday to turn around and keep wearing red till they all come back home. But I know red gets used for the heart program and some other ones. But I've been wearing red since, I don't know, I got out in 1972, so about 1973.
Oh, wow.
I started part of the program. And back then we even used to have candles on until everybody came home for your unit and to have it lit out there all the time. So,
yeah.
but today we still remember them with our red, and look for everybody else to do the same.
Yeah.
But whatever we can do to recognize those guys that give their lives and their families, because as Randy mentioned, after World War I, there was a lot of orphans in the city of Detroit just wandering the street. They had no place to go. And a young lady and a dentist had the idea with the VFW Cooties. They of getting a building or a hotel or something for the kids. Well, this dentist went and contacted a farmer in Eaton Rapids, and he donated all his land, and it was under 100 acres, but pretty close to 100 acres of cornfields and bean fields. And they went out there and wiped it out and built the Children's Village. Now it's called a National Home because it's more than just children there, it's adults too. But any veteran or veteran's family that gets in financial troubles and needs to have a little bit of help with their, because they got kids, and they make sure we take care of them, they can apply and go out to live at the National Home for usually a max of 4 years, but a lot of them only get 2 years. They go out there, VFW supplies all the household goods, refrigerators, stoves, beds, living room outfits. They get that all free, come out. They have a little store out there they can get their groceries from. We keep filled up with stuff. And it's amazing. People just Google the National Home, VFW National Home. And there's only one. It's in Michigan, but each house has one of the states on it, and that state helps support that home.
Yeah.
So we got the Michigan house that we support. Ohio has an Ohio house, and some of the outlying states out west, two of them will get together and they support one of the houses.
Yeah.
And with that, I think UAW has got a house out there. But if everybody hasn't been out there, they're supporting their 100th anniversary this year.
Wow.
So they're having a lot of events going on. If you go out to their site, they'll tell you what, when, and where all these different events are going on in the celebration of the National Home.
Awesome.
And that's our #1 charity that we support every year. And if we have a good year in poppies, they have a good donation. If we don't have a good year, we do what we can, and there's still always our #1 donation.
Yeah.
So go through there.
Now we have to wrap things up in a little bit, but I wanted to make sure that you give out contact information. And we talked earlier before the show that you're losing your older members, but that's not being matched by younger members coming in.
Absolutely.
So here's your chance to recruit and give out any contact information you want to give out.
If we have any wartime veteran out there through Iraqi or in Afghanistan, any type of a war, you've been sent overseas, you're eligible to be in the VFW. And your eligibility gets you in and be part of our crew. And what we do, we go out and do poppies, but also we participate in parades. We participate in all kinds of different events, veterans events in the area, because we're trying to recognize veterans. But in membership, if anybody, we are director of membership, as Randy's director of poppies. We have Bob Mahan, and I don't have his phone number right now, but I will give it to you. And he's our main contact for membership. But when we're out doing the poppies, if anybody's interested to join the VFW, to ask the person who's giving out the poppies. They'll have information about our organization. They'll have applications for it. And this is probably one of the problems. We get the most members to join is during our poppy event, because we see so many veterans walking up with a veteran's hat on.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And we start talking, and we talk, and we talk, and we talk, and eventually we get somebody to join with us.
And that's another thing, right? The community, right? To join others who understand, who
Right.
have also gone overseas and, you know, like you
Right.
said.
You have to be an overseas veteran,
Right.
or
Join
a
the
combat
VFW.
veteran to be into
Right.
our organization. So.
Right,
Yeah.
and to be able to join a community of others who have also been there and understand
Right.
what you've gone
Definitely.
through.
Yeah, we can share things that we know.
Yeah.
But one of the greatest things I liked about the VFW is we could get calls from the schools all the time, in the spring and in the fall. Some come in to explain the Vietnam War. We can give you a first-hand account of what happened in Vietnam and help them with their studies. Mostly that was the high school kids. We've gone out with the junior high school. We'll go out and sit with them. They come up with some interesting questions
Yeah.
about what does it be a soldier, or be in the Navy, or be in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can answer that because we have all the services in there. Don't have any Space Force yet, but they're too young. They'll be there eventually.
And I know a couple times a year you have coffee with a veteran at the memorial.
Coffee with
right?
the
So
veteran down
That's
at the
another
memorial.
opportunity to meet with your local veterans.
Local
and hear
veteran
their
or local
stories.
community.
Yeah.
And so when we're out there in the parade and they see us marching out there, because we always carry the military planes, their flags, or the other event, we have coffee with the vet. They'll know who we are and what we do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I believe you're on Facebook Two
We
radio
got our own
Facebook page,
VFW Facebook page.
Yeah, post 334.
VFW post 334, yes.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Once again, thanks for coming out, guys. We're happy to help get
we
the word out.
appreciate you
and-
giving us the time and your support that you give us on all the programs that we have.
Oh, no, you guys are doing great things in the community, so.
And thank you for your service.
Thank
Well,
you.
Yeah,
thank you, ma'am.
yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Thank you, George.
Thank you. All right, we're going to throw it over now to a musical segment from last year's concert series. Hopefully, LO Live is right around the corner. We'll be back
Yes.
to live concerts in the park very, very soon.
As soon as the snow
To
stops.
kind of whet your appetite, here's a look at a performance from last year from Annalise is the name of the duo, I believe it is.
Okay.
Struggle with pleasure, pain. And we can feel the difference. It's a pain that separates. I know I said I wouldn't let go, but it's getting so hard to grasp. It's taking so long, I don't want to lose what I have. When I look down on me. Remove me today, not of spite. All my life to go, I still left undone. It's a dark walk, I wanna be here now. Well said, it's a dark walk, I wanna be here now. This
And that was Anna Gale. I swear it was a
Anna
duo. I think the other person was taking a break or something. But so you notice that one was in 20 Front Street. Normally those concerts are held in Children's Park in the gazebo, but if the weather isn't good, they have 20 Front Street as a backup standby, and it works out really well.
Space,
yeah, beautiful venue over there. So they should have their roster of concerts this year posted, if not yet, very, very soon. So be sure to check out on the DDA website what that concert series is going to consist of this year, but I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I love it. Like living, in downtown Lake Orion. Sometimes I don't even go and just sit for the concert. My son and I play Pokemon Go, so it's kind of nice. We have the ambiance, and we'll walk around, to the music and play the game and meet up with others. So
Oh, it's a great
fun.
night out.
It's great. Yeah.
Something that I really enjoy here in Lake Orion, in the Orion area, is the history of this area. There's so much history, and Orion Township, Lake Orion, seems to have connection to really big names throughout the history. Like there's a famous story of the Amelia Earhart spending some time at the Scripps Mansion to fly an experimental glider and stuff like that. And as a matter of fact, I have something exciting that's going to be happening this Sunday. I found out that there's a sports card show in Troy this Sunday, and there's going to be a number of Detroit athletes that are going to be signing. And among the names that are going to be signing is a guy named Mickey Lolich. Do you know the name?
I don't. Should I know
You
the name?
don't. So he was a member
Oh
of
no,
the.
I'm getting looks like, how do you not know that name?
He was a member of the 1968 World Series Tigers team, and he's the only player I think to ever do this. He pitched 3 complete games, 9-inning games, in one World Series.
Wow.
That they won.
Wow.
And being a pitcher, he hit his only home run during that series of his entire career. And
Wait, he got to bat?
He got to bat, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so he was named MVP of that series, and the Tigers won the World Series that year. And once he retired from baseball, he owned a donut shop here in Lake Orion, where Snap Taco is right now. That used to be Mickey Lolich's donut shop. And believe it or not, he's going to be in Troy this Sunday to sign autographs.
Wow,
so I'm gonna, myself and Jimmy Johnson, who's part of the Orion Historical Society, we're going to go down there on Sunday. We're hoping to get an interview. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
At the very least, we'll shoot video of him signing, and I might bring a couple of pieces for
There
him
you
to
go,
sign.
yeah.
But he was he's been a really prominent name in Lake Orion and owned that donut shop for years and years and years, up through the 90s, I believe. And so that's really exciting.
Yeah.
But recently, Jimmy Johnson grabbed some of our ONTV equipment and went over to the Orion Township Public Library and recorded a presentation on the history of Oxford, our neighbors to the north. And there's some pretty fascinating stuff that was talked about the history of Oxford. So let's take a look at a clip from that presentation.
Okay.
So, one of the driving factors of Oxford being a real big agricultural community was a gentleman by the name of Charles Lee Ray Randall. He was rumored to be the first millionaire to come to Oxford. Now, he came around the same time, the early 1870s, and he came to Oxford right around the trains did, because this was vital. And he was rumored to be the first millionaire, and what he did was he purchased $750,000 of local produce from all the farmers in the area. That's the equivalent of $25 million today. So, needless to say, the farmers loved him because he was giving them security and buying up all their crop. But he was also one of the third president of the Oxford Savings Bank. But he got involved with this and with the trains that really boosted Oxford. This is his house over here. It's on West Burdick Street. It's a 6,400 square foot Dutch colonial, and it was on our historic home tour last year. And if you look at the bottom of it, you see the base of it is mostly stone. Now that is all local field stone. So they started building this house in 1898. Completed in 1904, and all the local farmers who loved Mr. Randall for buying all their produce brought him all their favorite field stones, their best field stones, and they did that. And that was a common practice in that day. That is the same practice that helped build St. Joseph Catholic Church in Lake Orion. All those beautiful field stones were all taken locally from farms. So Mr. Randall was very influential in Oxford as well. Now there are rumors of who designed his house. The family says it was Albert Kahn out of Detroit, but there's nothing written down. That was just what the family said, so we don't know for sure. It's just one of those rumors that we hear about, right? Now we're going to talk a little bit about the trains coming in to Oxford, okay? So the first train came to Oxford in 1872. It was the Detroit and Bay City Railroad out of Detroit, coming up through Rochester, Lake Orion, the Paint Creek Trail, right, and then into Oxford. It eventually converged into the Michigan Central Railroad and the New York Central, and then eventually the Penn Central. But the train was intricate. It was very, very vital for your community to thrive, to be on the railroad tracks. And then, of course, the DUR came, the Detroit United Railway. That was the electric trolley out of Detroit. And so the pictures here, you have the train here. That's the train depot over on East Street in Oxford. And the bottom one is the June of 1900, when the first trolley car came downtown Oxford. And it was full of dignitaries and famous people, kind of a photo op type of thing here. One thing in rural areas, as far as farming went, after the Civil War, there was a long depression, they called it. And that was spurred on by the Panic of 1873, which was a run on banks in Europe. And it kind of ran its course and came across these as well. And there were more like factors that kind of played into that, like America was denominatizing silver, so that kind of played into it. But so a lot of farmers would donate property to bring a depot to town or bring the railroad tracks to town. And we'll talk one reason that was important. So Oxford had a railroad, but the people in Metamora, they did not have that, so they had to transport all of their crops down to Oxford, which was kind of a big deal. So a man named Thomas donated property. And so if you go on north on M24 on the right-hand side, north of town, there's a road called Thomas. And that's where he donated property to bring the train depot in so they could have their crops shipped right from there.
So yeah, Oxford has a pretty interesting history, and maybe not as interesting as Lake Orion's, but no, it's fascinating to see that presentation, and we want to do more of that. We want to record more of the Orion Historical Society's presentations at the library.
Yeah.
I think they get in there at least once a month, and they have different themes. As a matter of fact, I was a speaker one time when we talked about Lake Orion's most famous residents.
Oh, of course, they would be great at that.
Yeah, and then coming up in a couple of weeks, it might be May, I think. I'll have to double check the date, but Reva Beatty, who normally does the boat tours on the lake, she's going to be doing a presentation for the Historical Society at the library on the rise and fall of Park Island. Are you familiar with Park Island at all?
I mean, not growing up in Lake Orion, yes,
no,
I did
that's long
hear,
before your time.
No, I know it was long before, but yes, I did hear, about Park Island. It used to be like, like an amusement park. Right?
Yeah, a roller coaster called the Thriller, and dance halls and carnival games, and
how awesome!
Now it's just a boring subdivision, but it has an incredible history. So we're hoping to record Reva's presentation at the library and share that with our viewers very soon. Speaking of history. I came out here in the community in the 90s, so I've been in Lake Orion, a Lake Orion resident for about 30 years now. And when I first came out here, there were community leaders who were just so welcoming and so nice to me. And, whenever I needed an interview or something, they were always quick to give me an interview. Well, that was 30 years ago. So we're starting to lose some of our community leaders, and one that we just lost recently was a former Orion Township Supervisor, Doug Brown. And I put together this little tribute to him, and one thing I want you to notice is that whenever he saw me standing there with the camera, he'd have a big smile. You can see him go, "Hi, Joe." And I always had to say, "Just ignore me, ignore me." But you'll notice a couple of times in this piece that I put together that he always seemed to greet me with a big smile on his face. So here's a little tribute to former Township Supervisor Doug Brown. We here at ONTV are saddened to learn about the passing of former Orion Township Supervisor Doug Brown, who passed away on March 16th at the age of 97. Doug Brown was a graduate of Clawson High School, a Marine Corps veteran, and went on to own A.D. Brown Income Tax Service and the Scoop Ice Cream Shop in Clawson. He was also the mayor of Clawson for 8 years. He served as Orion Township supervisor from 1992 to 1996. During his time as supervisor, the township purchased property that is now known as Friendship Park, as well as the property that currently is the site of the Orion Veterans Memorial. In 1996, Doug Brown was defeated by challenger Colette DeWasick during the primary election. His last meeting as supervisor took place on November 18th of that year.
It's been real interesting. I moved out here about 8 years ago. About 3 years after I moved, I decided to run. Of course, I was mayor in Clawson, so being supervisor out in the township, I've got the city government and the township government, which has been interesting. The people out here are nice to work with. We like the fresh air and everything, and it's really been a good experience. And I might just say, bragging a little bit, I never missed a regular or a special meeting since I was not in 4 years. I spent a lot of time on it, and it really interested me, and I accomplished a lot. I learned a lot.
Where do you go from here?
Well, I kind of retire, but I used to I still do some income tax on the weekends, so I'll do some of that during the tax season. And then 1st of May, we're going to go over to Japan. My son is stationed at Iokuni Marine Air Station. We're going to go over there for about 2 weeks to visit him and his family.
Doug Brown is survived by Dolores, his wife of 72 years, as well as his children, grandchildren, and many great-grandchildren. Our condolences go out to his family and friends. So even though Doug Brown only served for one term, 4 years, it was a pretty significant 4 years. As you saw, the township was responsible for obtaining the parcel of land from MDOT, I believe it was, to construct the Veterans Memorial, which we were just talking about. Yeah. So he played a big role in that. And the groundbreaking that you saw at the end there was they were breaking ground on Friendship Park. So he left this legacy, and he was always super nice to me. And I ran into him last time I saw him. I was eating by myself at Carrie Lee's, the Chinese restaurant on Baldwin and Clarkston, and I heard a familiar voice, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, "That's not Doug Brown, is it?" So I said, "Is that you, Doug Brown?" And he turned around. He's like, "Hi, Joe." And so that was the last time I saw him. That was just a few years ago, but always super nice to me, and definitely had a lasting legacy here in Lake Orion. So. Yeah. So,
nice tribute.
So our condolences, of course, go out to his family and friends. So. Next up on our list, we're in our final moments here at on Orion Today. Let's share a little information on an organization called Safe and Sound Ministries.
Hi there, I'm Pastor Rochelle Beckemeyer with Safe and Sound Ministries, why by God's grace we are helping improve the quality of life for special needs adults through programs such as safe and affordable housing. Today I'm excited to share with you our newest program, Heartwise Workshop, where we help our special people discover their God-given artistic gifts as members of a purposeful workforce. During our workshops, we make marketable, sustainable, and functional products that inspire people to connect with God and also generate some income for the artists. I brought two of our most recent creations, a fire starter. Now take a look here. It's a little teeny tiny fire starter, and it's made from donated crayons, egg cartons, and essential oils. Now these aren't just cute, they burn really well for 5 to 10 minutes, which is plenty of time to get your cozy fire going. This other item, make sure I've got the back here. So this other item is made from, and you'd never believe this, vape charger packaging. So we had a bunch of vape chargers donated that were never sold from a dollar store. And when the dollar store went out of business, he donated all of these vape chargers to us, and the packaging we used to turn into these trinket boxes. Now I use mine for, I've got keys and hair ties and my flash drive, and whenever I open it, I'm reminded that the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. So we just launched our website. It's heartwisews.com. Thank you so much for your kind attention, and I sincerely hope you have a blessed day.
And we want to spend these last few moments to kind of give you an update of what's happening in the community coming up soon. Tracy, something you wanted to mention?
Yeah, Lake Orion High School has its spring musical coming out at the end of this month. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, April 24th, 25th, and 26th. Chicago, the Teen Edition musical, will be at the high school. I know I've been a part of behind the scenes. My son is on the crew, and I know some of the cast, and it's going to be fantastic. So make sure you come out. That is also coincidentally the first weekend of the Poppy Sales, as we are talking with our local VFW chapter here. So make sure you get your poppies and then come out to the musical that weekend.
There you go. And we have this week's Quick Hits put together by Becky to give you an idea of what else is going to be happening over the next week or so.
Mark your calendar for the Orion Library Celebration. This fundraising event is themed the Roaring 20s style and will be filled with jazz music, dancing, food, drinks, and more. The event will take place this Wednesday at the library. The doors open at 6:30. For more information and tickets, visit orionlibrary.org. On Saturday, the Orion Library will be hosting a Bounce and Boogie program beginning at 11 o'clock. Learn physical literacy and fundamental motor skills to promote a healthy, active lifestyle. This program is for all ages. For more information, you can visit orionlibrary.org. There's still a few spots left for this year's Bunny Bop. Hop on over to the Orion Center on Saturday, April 12th for a photo with a special bunny, craft projects, and an egg hunt. Space is limited, to sign up today at orionparks.com. Kids in ages 9 through 15 are invited to participate in the Orion Parks and Rec's annual flashlight egg hunt. There are a few spots left, and this year's event will take place on April 17th at Camp Agawam. Dress for the weather because the event will be held rain or shine. The hunt begins at 8 o'clock. Register at orionparks.com. Do you have substances in your home that could be harmful to humans and the environment if not disposed of properly? If you do, NoHaz will dispose of them for you at their collection event this Saturday, April 12th. The collection will take place from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Pine Knob Music Theater. For more information and registration, visit nohaz.com. It looks like warmer temperatures are on the way for the weekend. Wednesday's forecast is calling for cloudy skies with a high of 42 and low 32. Rain and snow on Thursday with a high of 38 and low 31. Mostly cloudy on Friday with a high of 46 and low 31. Partly cloudy on Saturday with a high of 54 and low 34. And partly cloudy again on Sunday with a high of 58 and low 43. Well, that's it for this week's ON TV Quick Hit. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
So lots of stuff coming up. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to take your disposable items to the NoHaz event. The one that's coming up is at the Pine Knob, but I believe there's one at Kensington and some other closer locations. And we Orion residents used to be able to take part in that for free, but now it costs, would you say $15 to do that? Yeah.
But still, to get rid of all of those things that you normally can't.
And old electronics and things like that. So so go to NoHaz, I think it's nohaz.com, something like that, to see what the schedule looks like. And with that, we're just about out of time.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back. That went by quickly.
Thanks for having me. It went by very fast.
All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on Orion Today.